I could travel back in time to the day I turned 30 and hand myself just one piece of paper, this list is exactly what would be on it. On this list, well, I have what would have saved me 7 years of stress, 2 burnouts, and probably 6 or 7 figures in income. Because here's the cold hard truth. This is the reality. In your 30s, the cement is starting to dry. You don't have infinite time anymore, okay? You don't have an infinite runway. In this decade, you're either cementing your future, cementing your freedom, cementing your finances, honestly, or you're cementing your constraints, you're cementing your constriction. Now, I just turned 37, and looking back on this decade, nearly all the way through, I realized that there were 10 specific pivots that I had to make to stop just working hard in my life and really start to own the results. Now, these aren't just productivity hacks, you could call them. No. These are the new rules for living in your 30s. Number 1, elimination over accumulation. Now, in the first phase of your career, in your 20s, success came from addition, adding things to your life. You added skills, you added contacts, you added hustles, you added relationships. You were playing a game of volume. You wanted to touch a little bit of everything. But the moment you hit your 30s, that math flips. Success now comes from subtraction. You are trying to do everything and it's not going to work, so you got to take things away. It's actually better sometimes to do less. And the pivot is painful, but it's necessary. You have to start cutting the good things and making room for the great things, making room for the opportunities that only you can really crush, that you can knock out of the park. You don't want to be a hunter-gatherer just struggling to get resources. You want to be a curator protecting your focus. You want to be a hell yes or a no. There's nothing in between. Point number 2, from who to how. Now, this point is very difficult for a lot of high achievers like myself, probably you too, because we're wired to ask, how do I do this? How do I get this done? We're overachievers. In your 30s, it's not just about asking, how do I get it done? You should really be asking, who needs to do this? Or who can do this for me? Or who can help me with this? You have to move from being the hero of every story to taking pride in being an architect who can curate things, who can see a problem and set up a system to create a result that isn't totally dependent on you. Stop trying to be Superman, Superwoman. Just get people to help you and learn to delegate. Point number 3 is the passive income trap. In your 20s, you're obsessed with passive income. At least I was. We want the beach. We want that rich 20-something lifestyle. We want the 4-hour work week. Please, God, give it to me. But in your 30s, you realize that this is kind of a trap, okay? The wealthiest people that I know, these are the people who aren't trying to escape their life and their job. They're trying to build equity by creating assets that are doing things when they're not there, but they have to do it actively first. They have to put in active work to create that passive income. Passive income is for wealth preservation. Active income is what you do to build up enough wealth to be able to create passive income. So focus on that active income, because someone who's obsessed with building active income will have way more money to put into passive income later. You don't want to start with passive income. You don't want to chase passive income pennies when you could be building up actively and then depositing that money into a passive source, like a stock or like a business, right? Number 4 is realizing that you are more than your job. Now, in your 20s, you and your work kind of feel like the same person, don't they? Right? So if the work or the business isn't going well, you feel like a failure. I can speak for myself at least. But in your 30s, that tangling, that enmeshment becomes dangerous. It really makes you fragile in a way, kind of. And there's the pivot here, which is to decouple yourself and decouple your self-worth from your net worth. You have to realize that you are this beautiful machine that creates business, that creates work. And that work is just the product of your mind and your creativity and your heart. And if there's something going wrong with the product or the work, you can fix that while still being okay over here on the inside. Point number 5 is embracing the boring. I gotta tell you, consistency is so sexy. In your 20s, you're fueled by novelty. It's all about new people, new businesses, new cities, new ideas, dopamine everywhere. Dopamine runs the show. But your 30s is a pivot, because it's realizing that boring is where the real money is. Compounding is naturally boring, but it is so worth it, right? Building a 10-year-old brand is boring. Keeping the same team is boring. Sometimes being married is boring. But if you're still addicted to only having new experiences all the time, every 6 months you got to be trying things out, switching it up, you're never actually going to get to the point where you're compounding. That's compounding your momentum at work, in your relationships, in your investments. So every time you switch lanes, you start over. Stop switching lanes. Stop starting over. Number 6 is we want to go for asymmetric bets only, baby. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that it's time to stop trading your time for linear rewards. In your 30s, you want to only take bets where the downside is capped, but the upside is unlimited. I mean, you want to look for ways to make sure that what you're doing with your life and your time multiply themselves, like investing in the stock market multiplies your income. Like even posting content on here can start with a small amount of time. 30 minutes is capped energy, but the ROI on developing a brand is infinite. Now, number 7 is you might want to do a friend purge. And I know this one hurts, I know it does, but you're going to have to cut people off. And it's not because you hate them, it's because you can't afford that energy tax anymore. In your 30s, your network isn't just for contacts. It's really for emotional support. It's for developing a group of people who can really help you on your journey, who you can really have their back and they have yours. And so if you're around people who are constantly complaining or playing the victim or still even partying really hard like they're 22, that's going to leak into your life. It's going to leak into your bank account. It's going to leak into your wellness. So curate your circle ruthlessly. Number 8, you have to define what enough is. Now, what do I mean by enough? I mean that if you don't decide what enough is, you're going to keep running towards more until you collapse. You need to have a specific number, especially with your income. I mean, what does freedom actually look like for you? What does it cost? Is it $10,000 a month? Is it $50,000 a month? Define that goal, hit that goal, and then stop sacrificing your life to exceed it just for your ego. Now, point number 9 is learning how to listen to your inner voice. Look, now we are drowning in information. We're drowning in content. And I really believe that the goal isn't to be learning more necessarily, but synthesizing what you already know. You already know enough to solve your problem. You don't need another course. You don't need another podcast. What you need to do is you need to take what you have already learned and put it together in a way that can solve the problems in your life. You don't even need to watch any more YouTube videos, honestly. What you need to do is shut everything off and stare at a wall and learn to be bored, and the answers will come. The answers don't come when you're trying to force them to come, but they do come when you sit down, shut up, and listen. And finally, number 10, your body is no longer under warranty like it was in your 20s, sir or ma'am. You can't just grind for 18 hours a day. You can't sleep for 4 hours and eat like crap and then just do it all over again the next day. You know, in 30s, the bill comes due. And you see that your physical health is just as important as your career. And if you don't take care of your physical health, you can't have a career. So that means mobility, it means diet, it means monitoring your energy and your sleep. It doesn't matter how much you build on your portfolio or how much you're kicking ass in other areas of your life if your physical body is not there. Because when you are sick, or when you have something wrong with your physical body, that's the only thing you can think about. When you don't have your health, that's the only thing you care about. So don't forget that. I wrote these down because I need to read them to myself. And if even one of these hit home for you, do me a favor, hit the like button. Others need to see this, others need to hear this, others need to feel this. And if you're in your 30s, you need to know this.